from the busy and noisy kitchen, folks. It's the 27th of December and I want to do a user upper today. I want to make a turkey biryani using up Christmas dinner leftovers. As well as Christmas dinner leftovers, there'll be other ingredients as well. In fact, there are a lot of ingredients in this dish, but it is a fairly simple dish to make. Let's have a look what's going in it. So I'll start with my spices. I've got biryani spice mix, turmeric, smoked paprika, coriander and cumin. My herbs, I've got sage, basil and oregano. And then my seasonings will be garlic salt and chicken seasoning. Now, as it's a biryani, I need rice. There we have rice. It's mostly white rice, but there is some brown rice in there too. Some olive oil. For sweetness, I'm going to add a few prunes. I'm going to chop those up. For hotness, I've got some homegrown chillies. And then bits of veg, which I've got left in the fridge, which need using up. I've got a couple of spring onions, which are past their best. 3 cherry toms. An old mushroom, still fine, just looks a bit past its best. I've got an onion, and then from Christmas dinner, I've got 2 honey roasted parsnips just there. But the star of the show, of course, is the turkey, and we've still got plenty of this left. For sauciness, I'm going to be using a tin of tomato soup. I'm going to be using some Christmas dinner leftover gravy. And, random ingredient, I've got some mulled cider left, and my rice is going to be partially cooked in that. So as you can see, it's got everything in it apart from the kitchen sink, but believe you me, this is going to be flipping tasty. Right, let's crack on. So first things first, I need to chop up my onions and chillies. So it's the usual process: strip the outer layer, top and tail, and then finely chop. For my spring onions, it's chop the bottom, chop it about there, and then strip the outer stuff off it. And then they simply get chopped into nice small pieces. And then for my chillies, it's just a case of taking the top off. And you've got different sorts of chillies just here. This one's actually the hotter one. That one's not too hot at all, and they're okay. And then it's simply a case of just finely chop them down into smaller pieces. Keep the seeds, don't worry about the seeds. And then I'm just going to reduce it a little bit further with the rocking knife. I want nice small pieces. I want all those flavours to be released. Okay, next I'm going to add olive oil into my lovely new pan. And I want that to get hot. Okay, the oil is getting hot. I'm going to add the onions and chilli into it now. And you can hear straight away that it's sizzling. Just going to give that a little mix around. So now this is beginning to sweat, I'm going to add some of my spices. So the first one will be some smoked paprika. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on. You can sort of imagine that there's going to be a teaspoonful there. I'm going to add some coriander. About half a teaspoonful. I'm going to add cumin, half a teaspoonful. And then I'm going to mix all this together. It smells already fantastic. Okay, I'm just going to chop up my cherry tomatoes, mushroom and honey roasted parsnips. So I want these in slightly bigger pieces than I did the onions. Not huge chunks, but something with a bit more texture to it. Then I'll just half the cherry tomatoes. And as far as the honey roasted parsnips go, I'm going to half them lengthwise. And then I'm just going to cut them into small pieces. These will add a nice bit of texture. They'll also help to thicken it slightly, and they'll add some good sweetness. Sweet and spicy goes well together. So that's my veggies chopped. And these are now going to go into the pan on top of the onions and chillies. Just going to mix them around. I'll give them 2 minutes with the lid on, and then we'll carry on. Next, I'm going to add 10 prunes, and I'm simply going to snip each one of those in half. These add some nice sweetness as well. So we take the lid off the pan, Nice amount of steam there. This is going really well. I'm going to turn that right down now. And I'm going to add the prunes in. And I'm going to stir them around. So I said I had some mulled cider. And I'm not kidding, this is the mulled cider that is left. It's home brewed cider, and I'm just going to add this in for the rice to cook in. So I'm going to put that into the pan now too. So I'm just waiting for that to come back to a simmer, but I'm also going to add a spoon of gravy. Now this will mean that the rice will cook like sticky rice. Then I'm going to add on to this about 300 ml of water. So I want this mixture now to come to a simmer. I want everything to bond together. I can already feel that the gravy has completely melted. So I'm going to pop the lid on and come back to that shortly. There's not an awful lot for me to do for the next 5 minutes, so I think it's time for a cuppa. Catch you in 5. Right, 5 minutes has passed. Let's have a look. Oh yes, I think that is ready for the rice. Right, I'm going to add 350 grams of rice, and I'm just sprinkling it all around. Then I'm going to give it a nice stir. So I'm going to let this cook for 5 minutes with the lid on, and then I'll be taking the lid off. Okay, 5 minutes is up. It's just beginning to bubble again, and I can already feel that the rice has started to absorb the water and thicken. What I want to do now is reduce this. I want some of the water to evaporate off, and I want the rice to soak up the rest of it. So for that to happen, I'm going to cook it without the lid on, but with this grill on instead. So while I'm waiting for the rice to cook, I'm going to get my turkey chopped up. So there's lots of odds and sods of turkey here, picked from the carcass. There's dark meat, there's light meat, there's breast meat, there's leg meat, there's all sorts of meat. I'm not going to use this full tub, there's far too much. I'll probably use about a third of it. So there's about a third of the meat from the tub, and what I'm going to do is simply cut it down into smaller pieces. I don't want big pieces of meat in this. I want it small, and I want it so it absorbs the flavours of the spices into the turkey. That will do nicely. So back to the pan. And I can see that this is really beginning to thicken now. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. So I'm going to season a little bit more now with some garlic salt. About the equivalent of a teaspoon. Got on there. And some turmeric. Again, equivalent of about a teaspoon. And just mix that in. Right, I'm now going to add my turkey on top of this. I'm just going to sprinkle it on top, so it sits on top of the rice rather than mixes into it. So there's the situation as it currently is. I'm now going to add some more seasoning on top of the turkey. I'm going to add about half a teaspoonful of sage, about a teaspoonful of basil, and about a teaspoonful of oregano. Lastly, I'm going to add a bit more seasoning with this chicken seasoning, which, believe you me, goes just as well with turkey as it does with chicken. It gives it a salty flavour, it gives it a slightly barbecuey and toasty flavour. So once again, I'm going to put the lid back on now, and I'm going to leave that for another 5 minutes. So now I want to make my biryani sauce. Now, if you're not familiar with a biryani, the rice and the veggies and the meat are the solid bit which comes in the bottom of it, and then the sauce goes on top. And when you buy a biryani in a restaurant, you normally get the rice dish with all the other bits in it, and then a separate sauce. I do it all together in one pot. So we've got a layer with the rice and veg, then we've got the very thin layer with the meat, with the turkey, and then the sauce will go on top. And this will all bake in the oven, and trust me, it will be fantastic. So this is a Christmas using up recipe, and to that effect, the base of my sauce is going to be the remainder of the Christmas Day gravy. So I'm just going to get that on to warm. My other key ingredients in the sauce will be biryani spice mix, which contains a variety of different spices, gives it a really nice toasty biryani flavour. I'm also going to add some more paprika, because basically I loved smoked paprika. The other key liquid ingredient in the sauce is going to be my tin of tomato soup. Now I was going to use tomato passata, but I'm going to level with you. I don't have any, I've run out, I didn't realise. But I'm quite happy to use a tin of tomato soup like this because this is commonly used in curries. In fact, the first chicken tikka masala was made by adding a tin of tomato soup to a curry. So I get my tomato soup open. Chef's reward. Gorgeous. And then my soup is going to go into the gravy. And then I'm going to add the equivalent of 2 teaspoonfuls of biryani spice mix and a teaspoonful of smoked paprika. That then all gets blended together and brought to a simmer. So I shall put the lid on there at a jaunty angle so some of the steam can escape and it will reduce a little. I'm now taking the lid back off this and I'm going to turn the heat off and I'm going to put that grill on. So my sauce is reducing nicely, but there is one more ingredient I want to add into it which I've forgotten to mention. It's just a complete oversight on my part. But I'm going to add a couple of dessert spoonfuls of crunchy peanut butter into there, which will both thicken it and give it a lovely nutty flavour. So 1 and 2. And now that's in there, I'm just going to stir it in. It'll soon melt and this will really thicken nicely. 2 more minutes and it's done. The sauce is now complete, it's got a good thickness to it, a nice constituency. This is done, the rice has absorbed all of the liquid that was in there. It's now time to put these two together. And it literally is as straightforward as pouring the sauce on top of the biryani dish which is in there. So I'll use my spoon as well. Sorry if it gets a bit steamy. This is going to be so flavoursome. And now simply all I've got to do is spread the sauce over the top, cover all of the turkey over as best I can. So for now, this dish is done. It's simply a case of keeping that moisture in there with the lid on top. This is going to stay and sit for 4 hours. I want all those flavours to intersperse and I want that sauce to begin to drizzle down into the rice and I want the flavours in the sauce to really flavour the turkey. So it's currently 3:35 in the afternoon. I'm anticipating putting this in the oven at about 7:30 tonight for 30 minutes for an 8 o'clock supper. Right, I'll catch you later for when it goes in the oven. Okay, it's 7:55, slightly later than anticipated. It's now time to do the finishing touches on this and then get it in the oven. So let's have a look at the biryani. It looks very nice. And these are homemade dehydrated sun-dried tomatoes. I've made them myself in my food dehydrator. Look out for the film on my channel. Okay, I'm just garnishing the top. There, I think that will do. Right, lid back on. And now into the oven at 180 for 30 minutes. See you in half an hour for the tasting. Okay, time is up and it's time to dish up. Right, let's have a look. Oh yes, what an absolute beauty. Look at that. If there was such a thing as smell-o-vision, you'd love this because it smells absolutely fantastic. Right. Oh, that is solid. That is brilliant. So you've got the rice underneath and then you get the saucy topper. We like a saucy topper. That is triumphant. Anyway, the proof is in the eating. Oh, and I can't wait. Right, let's start with a bit of a sauciness. It's sweet, spicy, absolutely packed with flavour. That's fantastic. Bit of riciness. Oh, that's gorgeous. This meal tastes of happiness. It's made Christmas even longer and even better. Absolutely stunning. So folks, if you don't know what to do with your Christmas leftovers, biryani is your answer. It's a good one. Right, I'm going to go and enjoy this. Hope you've enjoyed the film. Catch you on the next one. See you later. The film that you've just watched is a Moss Home and Garden production. You can find more by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. I'd just like to say thank you very much for supporting my YouTube channel and for watching my films. It really is very much appreciated. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my YouTube channel in order to receive future updates about the home and garden films which I upload. You can find my YouTube channel by going to www.mosshomeandgarden.co.uk. Please click on the red subscribe button. When you've done that, a little bell will appear. If you press that also, then you'll get future updates about the films which I upload. If you like my films, if you like my style of filming, then you might also like my travel channel, which you will find by going to youtube.com/Stuart Moss or type in www.mosstravel.tv. Again, if you could subscribe to that channel, it would be hugely appreciated. If you'd like to get Moss Home and Garden updates on Facebook, then please open Facebook and do a search for Moss Home and Garden, and you will find the page. If you like the page, then you will get future updates on there. And if you'd like to connect on Instagram for home, garden and travel photography, as well as some stories, then my username is StuMoss, STUMOSS. If you'd like to connect on Twitter, then my username is @StuartMoss. And if you'd like to contact me about film usage or any other issue, please just email me on stewmosshomegarden@gmail.com. Once again, thank you very much for supporting my channel, for watching my films. I do appreciate it. I'd just like you all to have a great day.